how would you promote transparency in public schools? And if you could be as specific as possible, that would be helpful.
Well, Tim, that's one of the reasons I'm running for governor. A few years ago, my kids were at Superior Elementary in Boulder Valley School District, and this was before woke was a thing. And my kids came home and told me some stories about an anti-bullying program that was very inappropriate. And I thought, well, why didn't we know about this as parents? And so a bunch of us parents that were fired up about it decided to go to the principal and say, why didn't we get notified about this? Why weren't we able to opt out? And she said, well, you can't opt out because it's so embedded in the curriculum, there's no opting out. And we all looked at her like, what? And once I dug into the program, the anti-bullying program, I found a pretty troubling paragraph about how they train teachers, and it was to deal with problematic parents. Now, who do you think the problematic parents were? And so that was my first, what the heck is going on here? And so we ended up trying to start a charter school called Ascent Classical up in Boulder Valley School District. I was one of the founders of Golden View Classical and then helped launch Ascent, a sister school out of that. So I thought, well, let's do this up in Boulder Valley School District. There's not a lot of options up there. We worked for about 18 months, me and Kim and Derek and some others, and we got about 700 children signed up for the school. We went in front of the school board, and we weren't just told no. We were shouted out of town. We were run out of town. It was terrible. They didn't want our ilk there, I guess you could say, and didn't agree with our perspectives and didn't want a charter school competing with the other public schools. And so we appealed it to the state. The state said, go back to Boulder, try again, and Boulder said no again. So my husband and I decided to move to Douglas County because of the schools, because I thought, I can protect myself and so can my husband, but our kids are in these classrooms all day long, and their little hearts and souls, we can't protect that all the time. And so we moved down south to get them a better education, and they're thriving now. And I want every parent in this state to have that same option, because we have school choice for those of us that couldn't afford to move to a different zip code or put our kids in private school or homeschool them. But the mom working 2 jobs in downtown Denver that's struggling to get by and can barely put gas and groceries on the bills cannot have school choice. She doesn't have school choice. So I want to have this funding follow the family so that families can make a different choice if their schools aren't working for them. One last thing on transparency. This is how badly my opponent and his party does not want you to see what's happening in the schools. They turned down a bill in this last session that was proposed to provide transparency in curriculum to parents. Why would they do that? That makes no sense unless you're trying to hide something. So transparency, choice, and competition are how we're going to get our schools back on track. With 60% of our kids not being able to read, write, or do math at grade level, it's critical.